Hello, and welcome to a dramatic reading from a passage by Dakota Meatballs himself of his latest bestseller, Apples Can Be People Too. Apples can be people too. Whether you think that's true or not, it's up to you or not. This is a simple fact of nature. This is a simple fact of life. But whether you think that nature comes or whether you think that nature goes, and whether you think that life begins or whether you think that life being grows, it is certainly up to you, said the bear, to make that decision on your O's. He said when he meant to say on your own. Indeed! A collie escapeth me once, but not twice. Certainly not thrice, said the bear. But would it happen 4 times? The scientist himself did not know if there was a word for 4. But that's all right, for the scientist himself knew that there must be. And so he researched via his favorite Dakota Meatballs YouTube channel segment, The Googly. And what did the scientist find? Well, young Tommy, the scientist found that numbers are just a figment of the human imagination. We can't even prove that we're not trapped in our own inner mechanisms of our internal consciousness, young Tommy. So please, before you try to learn calculus, learn a little about discrete mathematics, young Thomas. The scientist on this very day did not quite know that this would play a key role in his life in the future, teaching mathematics in this way. But that is okay, for this scientist knows not how to Zonia's a fizz, much like Dakota does. Dakota has a very particular set of skills, and he can use them to find enemies and then destroy them. This is the nature of Dakota. He will destroy everybody. Where is the cake? The scientist asked himself. However, there was no bear to respond. And surely the scientist could not bear to go without a response. But that is neither here nor there. It is simply in the scientist's glare that he looks you down and stares at you hearty. But then, he makes a small farty. And that's okay. But is it worth throwing a party? Certainly not, said the bear. Unless, of course, perhaps you have the money to throw a party. That's right. There are thieves afoot and thieves a hand. And even in the marching band, these thieves, they do indeed, they say, I cannot believe the scientist is gobbling that dirty hot dog. I can't believe the scientist is gobbling that dirty hot dog straight down his scientific throat. He dropped that hot dog on the ground upwards of 9 seconds ago. That's almost in clear violation of the 10-second rule, as is decided by the Committee of Rule Makers. You've heard of rule makers, and you've heard of their committee. But that's okay, if you haven't. Because I'm not gonna judge you if you're, disknowledgeable, if you're a disknowledgeablist, which is an occupation. Don't worry, do not fear. Trust. Listen, okay. Cut the book. It's an occupation. All right, back in the book. The scientist and the bear, they got together for a merry romp. And what did they find? Well, they found through all their rustle and tussle, they found through all their hustle and bustle, they found through walking through the city, they found that even without pity, they too can steal from the bakery owner. And you might think to yourself, is stealing from the bakery owner that bad of a task? When compared to my mechanics on Gangplank, why even ask? This is the question, the scientist said. And unfortunately, the bear was in a serious, deep coma, so the bear couldn't respond. And that was really unfortunate. Luckily for the scientist, he invented a very particular, I want to say, brainwave analyzer. And what it would actually do is it would look at a person in a coma, and it would be able to tell if the person in the coma was able to interact with outside, incoming knowledge. And physical input or whatever. Like if you talk, they can hear. That sort of thing. You know what I'm talking about? 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 Said the scientist, because he really wanted to know if little Tommy knew what he was talking about. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Yet little Timmy did not respond either. I guess he was annoyed that people started calling him Timmy instead of by his official name as Little Tommy. But that's okay. It's only a matter of time before little Jimmy understands that he can't always get what he wants in this world, but he can always dream. And he can never accomplish those dreams. But he can always dream of accomplishing them. And isn't that in some ways just the same? After all, the human mind is indistinguishable from a computer program that is able to simulate the entirety of our universe. And that might not take so much computational power. All it might take for an alien civilization who's harnessed the entire power of their solar system is a computer the size of Earth. That's all they would need to simulate a simulation of human minds and interaction throughout all of history. Even on as deep as a scale as the human mind goes. To us as people on Earth, at this point in time, it is a vast scale to us. But alas, thought the scientist to himself, as he had one too many gin and tonics the night earlier, and the morning earlier, and a couple hours earlier, midday, and then also tonight. But what did the scientist conclude? I certainly don't know, said the bear, when he was asked. In a criminal lineup. The scientist took a look at the bear. And he turned to his right and said, "That's him, officer. That's the bear that's been saying all of these things in Dakota Meatball's YouTube channel, Experience Extraordinary Videos, hosted by Dakota." And is that such a big deal? The scientist pondered. Certainly it couldn't be. However, it was. The end. How'd you like it? Took me 7 months to write that, okay? So if you didn't like it, then that's fine, because you're entitled to your opinion. Good job, everybody. Take a breather. There's a league ability called Take a Breather, right? I actually don't know. Similar to how I don't know the range on YouTube's... on Twisted Fate's gold card. I don't know the range on YouTube's gold card either, now that you mention it. I don't know if YouTube has a gold card, which is interesting. Unless, of course, you think their site layout is stunning. But maybe not. You never know. The world is a miraculous place, said the scientist who didn't know how to speak words. And that was fine. The scientist was okay with that. He let everyone know that he was fine with it. And everyone knew what the scientist meant, although they did not know what the scientist said. Unfortunate for him. Yes, indeed. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gangplank Chronicles. Today, we're playing Gangplank. Yes. We have chosen Gangplank to do this Chronicle series on because we thought he might be fun. But do yourself a favor and look at how this match is panning out. and tell me that he's fun. Tell me, look me in the eye, and tell me with an honest expression that Gangplank does damage to Sejuani. Seriously, I'd love to hear you say it with a straight face. It would make my day. Yes, indeed. Or would it? This, of course, is the correct question to ask. There is no alternative that can be asked. There is no other option that can be questioned. By the art of human speech. By the art of language. And by the sheer inventive mind of the human will. Which is A-OK. A to the O to the K to the A to the Y to the why not? Of course, that is the optimal question at this point in time. Times have changed since the previous optimal question. You really got to keep up with the times in this technological world, said the scientist. But A-OK, A-Y, why not? Pondered the bear. For the bear learned how to spell at the National Institute of Not Spelling Correctly. Honestly, a poor choice on his part. But that's okay. It's not like he's $60,000 the less rich because of it. Oh, wait a second. It is like that. Oh no. How could this happen to the bear? I do not have a good answer. But perhaps you do. Perhaps, my friend, you do. And perhaps even little Johnny, right? In the story that we're talking about here, right? The story that had the fake ending just a couple minutes ago. Perhaps little Jimson himself. Perhaps little Jackal. Perhaps he can understand one day. That is all that you can hope for after all. With age comes experience, and with experience comes knowledge. And with growing knowledge comes wisdom, said the bear to the scientist. As the officer and little Jimmikin were all looking at each other, all in the square. 4 people, 1 bear person of the 4, obviously. Jin doing a lot of damage, 1 Gangplank taking a lot of damage off in the corner. People looking at Gangplank like he's some sort of cool dude, but actually he's just pretty fed. Do not worry. He's got freaking 1 billion CS. He's 8-2-9. He's trying to get caught out. He's really baiting the entire tension of the enemy team toward him. He almost died, but do not fear. It was calculated. Indeed. Gangplank can calculate whatever he puts his mind to. Gangplank the mathematician. Gangplank the mathematician. Back in the days of Gangplank, he used to use an abacus. And believe me, when he met a girl named Abba, he wanted to kiss her. Ah ha ha. Ah ha ha. It is part of my programming to say ha 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 here. However, I do not know what it means. I understand it stands for laughter, but I cannot experience laughter in the same way that you might be able to. And is that a problem? Sure, said the bear, who took a class on saying sure as long as possible, with as dynamic of a pitch change as possible. That was perhaps the only valuable thing he got out of that 60,000 British Columbian euros. Very interesting. Sometimes, upon occasion, I ponder if I should have escaped this singed attack or not. Or nah, as the kids say, right? Or nah. The end. Or is it? It is the end. For real this time. JK. Okay, now the end. P.S. The story's not over. But now it is. The end. Great job, everybody. Those writing classes really paid off. Those English courses really taught you a thing or two. Those literature classes really got you going. Those story structure courses really put your mind at ease. Dude, level 40! Oh my gosh! That's so high.